Welcome to Children and Family Law Nugget. This segment will be discussing a new topic, and that is, what is child abuse? The effect of child abuse on children. How to dictate if a child has been abused. As usual, my name is Christopher Aniche. I'm a specialist children and family law accredited solicitor. I practice children and family law in London. In case you like to contact me, my details will be displayed at the end of the video. Thank you. Now the question is, what is child abuse or child maltreatment? It is a physical, sexual, and/or psychological maltreatment or neglect of a child or children, especially by parents or a caregiver. This may include any act or failure to act by the parents or caregiver that results in actual or potential harm to a child, and this can occur in a child's home or in an organization, in school, or in the community. There are four major types of child abuse, namely physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional/psychological abuse, and neglect. Physical child abuse is an injury resulting from physical aggression, whether intentional or not intentional. The act is still considered physical abuse. The injury for physical child abuse may be the result of beating, slapping, hitting, pushing, shaking, kicking, throwing, pinching, biting, choking, hair pulling, burning with cigarettes, scalding with water, or other hot object. Severe physical punishment. People have often asked if physical punishment is the same as physical abuse. My response is, physical abuse is an injury resulting from physical aggression. Physical punishment is the use of physical force with the intent of inflicting bodily pain, but not injury, for the purpose of correction or control. As you can see, physical punishment can easily get out of control and become physical abuse. I've had clients who thought that they were simply meting out physical punishment, not knowing it indeed was child abuse. Some other specific type of physical child abuse are shaking baby syndrome. That is, shaking a baby or toddler can cause serious head injuries. There are other physical injuries like Munchausen syndrome by proxy, that is, inducing medical illness in a child or wrongly convincing others that a child is sick, and both is dangerous and abusive to the child. Drug use during pregnancy is physical abuse. Alcohol abuse during pregnancy or lactation can be harmful to a child, leading to problems such as fetal alcohol syndrome. Hundreds of thousands of children are physically abused each year by somebody close to them, and thousands of children die from their injuries as a result. For those who survive, the emotional scars are deeper than the physical scars. Some signs of physical child abuse. You will notice burns, bite mark, cut, bruises, or welts in the shape of objects like cigarette marks. You also notice the child resistant to going home when he or she has to go home. Fear of adult or nest of kin. What is child sexual abuse? Is any sexual act between an adult and a child, including penetration, intercourse, incest, rape, oral sex, and sodomy. Other examples include fondling, touching, or kissing a child's genitals, making a child fondle an adult genitals, violation of bodily privacy, forcing a child to undress, spying on a child in the bathroom or bedroom, exposing a child to adult sexuality, performing sexual acts in front of a child, exposing genitals, even when you tell dirty jokes before a child, showing a child pornography, commercial exploitation such as sexual exploitation through child prostitution or child pornography. Regardless of the child's behavior or reaction, it is the responsibility of the adult not to engage in sexual acts with the children. Sexual abuse is never the child's fault. Please note. Sexual abusers can be fathers, mothers, siblings, or other relatives, childcare professionals or babysitters, clergy, teachers, or athletic coaches, foster parents, or host families, or even foreign exchange students, neighbors, or even friends, strangers. Some signs of sexual child abuse are inappropriate interest or knowledge of sexual acts, seductiveness, avoidance of things related to sexuality, or rejection of own genitals or body, either overcompliance or excessive aggression, fear of particular person or family member. Warning signs of online sexual abuse for parents. Your child spends large amounts of time online, especially at night. You find pornography on your child's computer. Your child receives phone calls from men you don't know, or is making calls somewhere, maybe sometimes long distance call, to numbers you do not recognize. At times, your child may receive mails, gifts, or packages from somebody you do not know. Your child turns the computer monitor off or quickly changes the screen on the monitor when you come into the room. Other cases are your child becomes withdrawn from the family, or your child is using an online account belonging to somebody else. Next, what is emotional child abuse? Emotional child abuse is any attitude, behavior, or failure to act that interferes with a child's mental health or social development. It can range from a simple verbal insult to an extreme form of punishment. Emotional abuse is almost always present when another form of abuse is found, e.g., neglect. Surprisingly, emotional abuse can have more lasting negative psychiatric effect than either physical or sexual abuse. Emotionally abused child can come from adults or from even other children, parents, caregivers, teachers, athletic coaches, siblings, bullies at school or elsewhere. And finally, what is child neglect? Child neglect is a very common type of child abuse. According to Child Welfare Information Gateway, more children suffer from neglect than from physical and sexual abuse combined. Yet, victims are not often identified primarily because neglect is a type of child abuse that is an act of omission or of not doing something. Some overlap exists between the definitions of emotional abuse and emotional neglect. However, neglect is a pattern of failing to provide for a child's basic needs. A single act of neglect might not be considered child abuse, but repeated neglect is definitely child abuse. There are three basic types of neglect. Number one, physical neglect. Two, educational neglect. And a third one, emotional neglect. Other forms of neglect are physical neglect, like failure to provide food, clothing appropriate for the weather, supervision, that's appropriate supervision of your child or home, a home that is not hygienic, safe, or medical care as needed. There can also be neglect in terms of educational neglect. Failure to enroll a school-age child in school or to provide necessary special education. This includes allowing excessive absences from school. Failure to provide emotional support, love, and affection. This includes neglect of child's emotional needs and failure to provide psychological care as needed. Some signs of child neglect. You see a child clothed in unsuitable clothes during the hard weather, being dirty, unbathed child extremely hungry, and you could see children whose apparent lack of supervision. Now that I've succeeded in explaining to you what a child abuse is, I hope you have gained more insight into how parental action can be said to be child abuse under the law. Please note, any parents can abuse children. It is important you take a critical view of your parenting, as you may be putting your child or children at risk and possibly exposing yourself to criminal prosecution. I will in my next segment be discussing your right as a parent and the right of a child, and when the state can intervene and remove your children from your care because of child abuse. Please feel free to subscribe, and please invite your friends or other parents and caregivers who may benefit from this channel and knowing their right under the law. Again, my name is Chris Aniche. I'm a specialist accredited family law and children's law solicitor. I am also a resolution specialist accredited solicitor. If you have any confidential question you may want to ask me, you can always send your email. You can send me an email, and my email will be provided after this video. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.